The message lit up my screen like a slap. The Sinclair Family Reunion is this Friday, 7 p.m, July 12, 2024, at the Silvercrest Palace. Don't come. We don't celebrate failures. I leaned back in my ergonomic chair, the Miami skyline gleaming beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows of my corner office on the 42nd floor. The words stung, but they were familiar, like an old scar. My family's disdain was a ritual, their texts a predictable script. Yet, each jab fueled a fire they'd never see coming. The Silvercrest Palace wasn't just a luxury landmark, it was mine. 12 years ago, something like that would have shattered me. Today, I just smirked. I tapped the phone, rereading the message, their venom almost laughable now. My empire was built on their doubts, each brick laid with the sweat they mocked. A second message buzzed through. We have standards to maintain. Don't humiliate us like last time. I glanced up at the photo on my office wall. Me cutting the ribbon beside the city mayor the day I acquired the Silvercrest Hospitality Group in a $420 million 0 cents deal. Of course, no one in my family knew that. To them, I was still Elena Sinclair, the 28-year-old who ruined her life by leaving medical school to clean rooms at a roadside inn. You'll amount to nothing. Aunt Vivian had sneered at my last family dinner. Her wine glass raised like a gavel. You're a disgrace to the Sinclair name. They didn't know I worked 14-hour days in housekeeping, learnt to fix HVAC systems, took online courses on hotel finance, or that I'd transformed a rundown inn near South Beach into one of Florida's most sought-after coastal resorts within 5 years. They definitely didn't know I now oversaw a portfolio of 32 luxury properties across the East Coast. I could still hear Cousin Evan's laugh from that night. Elena, still scrubbing floors? Pathetic. Then came another gem, this time from my cousin Evan. Mum says, don't show up in one of your little janitor outfits. It's just sad. His words echoed a Christmas party where he joked to guests that I was the family's cautionary tale. I'd left early, their laughter trailing me like smoke. Now, my uniform today, a white linen blouse, Louboutin heels, and a title that made bankers stand when I entered a room. My assistant Nia buzzed in. Miss Sinclair, the Q3 profit statements are ready. Also, the Sinclair family just confirmed their reunion reservation. Which space did they take? The Crystal Lotus Ballroom. And yes, they selected the platinum tier catering with rooftop fireworks. They even demanded extra staff for their VIP guests. Nia added, her tone dry. Aunt Vivian called me personally to ensure no low-class service ruins their night. Should I include a note on the invoice? I smiled. Yes, just add with warm regards from the owner. And Nia, make sure the staff knows to smile extra wide, I said, my voice low. Let them feel like royalty. Until they don't. I smiled. Aunt Vivian had been boasting for weeks on Instagram about hosting the Sinclair Family Reunion at Miami's most exclusive oceanfront hotel. I stood, smoothed the lapels of my cream blazer, and glanced once more at the lobby security feed on my monitor. Let them take in the granite floors and crystal chandeliers. Let them soak in the splendor. The Sinclair name wasn't just printed on the invitation, it was engraved in gold above the entrance. No, let them think it's on the house for now, I told Nia through the intercom. I set my phone down and swiveled slowly in my chair, the Atlantic sparkling beneath the setting sun outside my office windows. I opened the family chat. Their messages a parade of arrogance. Make sure the champagne's vintage, Uncle Leonard typed. We're not drinking cheap swill. The family group chat was still lighting up. Over-enthusiastic RSVPs, wine pairings, jokes about who would give the toast. Now my mother had entered the chat. Please don't take offense, Eleanor. Your aunt just wants everything to go smoothly. The Silvercrest Palace is very particular, you know. Particular? I muttered, my jaw tight. You mean the hotel I built from nothing while you called me a failure? Oh, we had standards. All right, just not the ones they imagined. I opened my laptop and pulled up the guest intelligence report my staff compiled for every major event. Aunt Vivian had been caught twice trying to use her late husband's old business card at five-star resorts. Cousin Evan was flagged at a Vegas hotel for threatening staff over pillow firmness, and Uncle Leonard permanently banned from a Palm Beach inn after harassing a sommelier. They think they're untouchable, I said to myself, scrolling through their infractions. Let's see how they handle my rules. The only reason they were welcome here was because they didn't know who owned it. Another message popped up. This one from my sister Nora, the only person in the family who knew the truth. You're really going to let them waltz into your hotel like nothing happened? Don't worry, I replied. They'll get their moment, just not the one they expect. Nora had seen it all. The years I worked overnight shifts, the motel renovations, the cold calls to investors. She was the first to toast me when I signed the deal to buy Silvercrest. They all choke on their caviar when they see you, she texted, adding a laughing emoji. Make it hurt, sis. Promise me you'll get it on camera. Ready, done, I wrote. Lobby, ballroom, rooftop, multiple angles. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. Come in, I said. Marcus Lee, my head of security, stepped into the office with a tablet in hand. Miss Sinclair, they've already tried bribing the concierge for a bigger suite, he said, shaking his head. Your uncle offered $500, 0 cents cash, like it's a flea market. You try all the foods, we can survive. Speranto Mayor, I have finalised the surveillance layout for Friday. Just to confirm, you still want to wait until everyone's inside before you make the reveal? I nodded slowly. Yes, let them sip the champagne, let them take their selfies, let them believe they finally made it. Marcus gave a half smile. He'd been with me since the South Beach Inn, back when we were patching drywall ourselves and using refurbished keycard machines. I still remember your aunt screaming at me over a late towel delivery, he said. She'll lose it when she sees you. He knew how I moved, knew I never made a scene until the applause was ready to die down. He knew how many overnights I'd worked with a folding cot hidden behind the laundry chute. How many New Year's shifts I'd picked up while my family toasted success without me, and their room bookings, he asked. I didn't hesitate. Cancel all of them. He arched a brow. Even your mother and father? I took a long breath. The last memory I had of telling my dad I was leaving medical school played like an old recording. You're throwing away your future to clean toilets, he spat. If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back. They made their choice, I told Marcus, my voice steady. Now they'll live with mine. Yes, I said quietly. Especially them. Marcus nodded and made a quick note. And the ballroom. Clear it out, I said, except one round table, one chair. Kill the lights, leave just a single spotlight on the chair. He let out a low laugh. Elegant, brutal. I like it. They won't know what hit him, he said, already typing. I'll have the team ready to roll. After he left, I walked to the glass wall overlooking the bay. The spire of the Silvercrest Palace against the evening tide. These streets had seen me walk in $80 0-cent Snickers and polyester uniforms. They'd watch me grind for every cent I put into this empire. My phone buzzed again. My Aunt Vivian. We hired a photographer. Don't do anything to embarrass the family. This hotel has a reputation to maintain. Embarrass? I scoffed, gripping the phone. You're about to learn what real shame feels like. I ran my hand along the nameplate on my desk. Elena Sinclair, founder and CEO, Sinclair Silvercrest Group. Oh, Vivian, I whispered. You've never even met our standards. The rest of the week was precise. I rehearsed lighting cues, reviewed staff roles, and ran test recordings. My team, many of whom had once been belittled by my relatives, volunteered with enthusiasm. Some even offered to work overtime, unpaid. Thursday night, I called Nora. You ready for tomorrow? I asked. Born ready, she laughed. Batteries charged, angles are locked in like I'm shooting a feature film. Then a brief pause. But Elena, are you absolutely sure about this? I mean, they're still your family. Family doesn't erase you for chasing your dreams, I replied, my voice sharp. They chose their side. Now I choose mine. I glanced at the old photo on my bookshelf. Me at 29 in a faded housekeeping uniform, mop handle in one hand and a stack of folded towels in the other. They stopped being family the day they decided I was an embarrassment, a liability to their image. I turned toward my closet. Tomorrow I wouldn't wear my usual linen blouse or tailored slacks. I would wear that uniform, clean, pressed, proud. The same one I wore when they called me foolish, when they said I had wasted my life. Now they'd walk beneath my name, etched in gold above the grand archway. They were too self-absorbed to ever look up at. If you've ever been underestimated or told you'd never make it, you won't want to miss what happens when they step into my world. Hit subscribe and stay with me, because the moment of truth is just one door away. Sometimes the best revenge needs no explanation. Sometimes it only takes the right outfit and perfect timing. Friday morning in Miami arrived crisp, the ocean breeze drifting through the wide balconies of the Silvercrest Palace. Light poured through the lobby's stained glass dome, catching every cut glass vase and polished brass fixture. I stood by my office window on the top floor, dressed in the same housekeeping uniform I hadn't touched in over a decade. It felt oddly grounding, like armor. "They've started to arrive," Marcus said through the intercom. "Aunt Vivian's already asked for early check-in, and when you told her no, she asked to speak to the owner, and you said that the owner would be making an appearance." "She's throwing a fit by the fountain," Marcus added. "Says she'll have your job for this." On the security feed, Vivian stood stiffly near the coral-tiled fountain, her voice rising. Evan was beside her, furiously typing what I guessed would be a 5-paragraph TripAdvisor tantrum. And there were my parents. My father in a pressed black suit, lips tight, my mother in rented pearls, clutching a designer bag she'd likely return by Tuesday. "There must be some mistake." My mother's voice rang out, tight and clipped with embarrassment. "This is unacceptable," she snapped at the concierge. "Do you know how much we paid for this?" "No mistake, Mrs. Sinclair," Marcus replied smoothly. "The owner has asked that each of you step forward one at a time into the light." "This is absurd," Aunt Vivian snapped. "Do you even know who we are? I demand to speak to the owner." "You're embarrassing yourselves," she hissed at Marcus, her face red. "This hotel will hear from our lawyers." I stepped through the ballroom doors without hesitation, the request granted. Silence fell like a velvet curtain. Every head turned. 40 pairs of eyes froze on me. I stood under the massive archway in my pressed housekeeping uniform, binder in hand, shoulders squared. Shock rippled through the room like static. "Alina," my father said, his voice cracking. What are you doing here? Why are you dressed like a nobody?" I finished for him, my tone ice cold. "Like the daughter you said would never be enough?" I walked into the spotlight with slow, deliberate steps. "Like a maid? Like someone beneath you? Like the daughter you cut off because she didn't want your life? If this is some kind of joke," Vivian began, but I held up a hand. "Oh, it's real, though. Watching you spiral over your cancelled suite was entertaining. You thought you could waltz in here and demand my kingdom," I said, my voice cutting through the silence. "You don't even know what you've stepped into." I reached the single table, placed the binder on top, and turned to face them. "The Silvercrest Palace does have standards," I said. "We don't host guests who berate service workers. We don't accept fraudulent cards, and we don't tolerate entitlement dressed as legacy." Victoria gasped from the back. "You're just a maid." I smiled, calm, steady. "No, I'm the owner of this hotel and of the Sinclair Silvercrest Group. 32 luxury properties across 3 countries. I let the binder fall open with a sharp, satisfying thud. "Shall we take a little tour of the past?" And then I began to read their texts. Their email, their public posts, the insults, the mockery, the eraser. Every time they wrote me off. Every time they told me I'd never amount to anything. "Here's a classic," I said, holding up my phone. "Vivian, your email from 2015. Elena's a lost cause, better off mopping floors than shaming us. How's that floor looking now?" Now they sat in silence under my roof, staring into my spotlight, unable to rewrite what I had lived. My mother's voice trembled. That's impossible." "What is, Mum?" I asked, my tone calm. That your so-called failure of a daughter now owns the ballroom you're standing in, the most exclusive hotel in Miami, or that I've outgrown your small, petty world, I added, my eyes locked on hers. I added, stepping further into the spotlight. The same daughter you wouldn't invite to Christmas now holds the master key. I could buy and sell this family 100 times and still come out bored. But the rooms, Aunt Vivian stammered. Cancelled, I said smoothly, by my directive, just like your little reunion. Silence, dense and immovable. You thought you could erase me, I said, my voice rising, but I built this empire while you were busy judging me. The Silvercrest Palace has exceptionally high standards, I continued, and we do not accommodate guests who belittle service workers, abuse staff, or parade entitlement like it's a virtue. You can't do this, Evan burst out. All my friends are on their way. This is humiliating. Humiliating? I laughed, stepping closer. Try working 14-hour shifts while your cousin calls you a loser to your face. I stepped closer, eyes locked on his. Humiliating, I repeated, like the years I was told I didn't belong. Like being erased from birthdays, weddings, and family photos because I didn't wear a lab coat or marry someone from your country club. I turned toward the back of the room. Security. Marcus appeared with his team, quiet, poised, immovable. Kindly escort everyone out, I said. If they argue, remind them we have recorded footage. If they threaten, remind them we have documented behaviour from multiple hotel chains. And if necessary, well, the Miami press loves a scandal with brunch. You're nothing without us, Evan shouted, his face red. You think this hotel makes you better than us? Elena, wait. My father stepped forward, eyes wide. No, I said, voice firm. Where was this concern when I was living off ramen and sleeping 3 hours a night? When you called me a disgrace to the family name, you could have been a doctor, he stammered. Instead, you chose this? I smiled. This owns you now. The security team moved in, ushering them out one by one. Their designer shoes echoed against the granite as sobs, gasps, and muted curses faded down the hallway. Oh, and before you go, I called after them, the champagne you insisted on. It wasn't complimentary. Expect a personal invoice with a service charge. As the ballroom emptied, Nora emerged from her hidden camera setup. That was brutal, legendary. But seriously, are you okay? I've never been better, I said, my voice steady. They thought they could break me. Instead, I broke their world. I looked around the vast, quiet ballroom. Once I wasn't allowed a seat at this table. Now I owned the table. The room, the story. I'm perfect, I whispered. That evening, I changed back into my usual outfit. White blouse, blazer, heels polished to a mirror shine, and watched the Miami skyline blaze in gold from the rooftop lounge of Silvercrest Palace. My phone buzzed without pause. Calls, messages, voicemails. Some were apologetic, others venomous. All of them deleted by morning. Headlines filled every major business column and society site. Hotel powerhouse Elena Sinclair shuts down family reunion over class prejudice. Some called it ruthless. Most called it iconic. All agreed on one thing. My rise from hotel housekeeper to East Coast magnate was undeniable. A week later, a plain envelope appeared in my executive mail tray. No return address, but the handwriting was familiar. Inside, letterhead from Sinclair, Hart and Lowe, my family's legacy law firm. An offer. They wanted me to return. Not just return, but to become a named partner. No apology, no reflection, just a seat at their table. Too late, I whispered, crumpling the letter. You don't get to claim me now. I sealed my reply with a wax stamp and mailed it the next morning. Inside, one pressed housekeeping uniform and a handwritten note that read, "No, thank you. I prefer owning buildings, not renting desks in them." The Silvercrest Palace only grew in stature. Our reputation, luxury without arrogance, service without servitude, became a beacon in the hospitality world. I made it a foundational policy to hire people who, like me, started at the bottom. Former dishwashers, receptionists, janitors, people with fire in their eyes and no safety net to catch them. Every new employee heard my story, not as revenge but as a reminder. Success isn't handed down, it's built one scrubbed floor, one overlooked shift, one daring decision at a time. Late one night, after finishing rounds with the night staff, I slipped on that same uniform again. Not out of nostalgia, out of reverence for the woman I used to be, the one who vacuumed conference rooms while her family pretended she didn't exist. She wasn't weak, she was becoming. And now everyone knew it. The Sinclair family never hosted another reunion at a luxury venue again. They couldn't. Word travelled fast through elite hotel circles, and my story travelled with it. Some managers even framed it in their staff rooms. A quiet warning, a proud reminder that greatness doesn't always wear a tailored suit. Sometimes it wears a name tag and carries keys. I kept that Boru spotlight during every staff orientation. I pause beside it, and I tell them the truth about the day I stood under that light wearing my past like armor and taught an entire family what worth really looks like. It wasn't about revenge. It was about value, about claiming space I was once denied, about proving that I became someone no one believed I could be. Elena Sinclair, founder, CEO, hotel magnate. Not bad for someone they called a failure. If you felt seen in my story, if you've ever been told you don't belong or watched people you love turn their backs the moment you took a different path, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, tell me what part hit you hardest. Tell me about the moment you chose yourself over approval. Your voice matters here. Not just for me, but for every single person who's still working late shifts, still being overlooked, still building something no one else understands. This isn't just a channel, it's a community for quiet power, earned success, and dignity that doesn't need to shout. Tap that subscribe button if you believe in growth, in grit, and in becoming more than what others ever imagined for you. And if you're still in your uniform, whatever that looks like, keep going. Keep showing up. Your work, your vision, your story matters. I'm living proof that you don't need applause to rise. You just need belief in yourself, in the work, and in the future you're building. They might not see your worth yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't shining. Let's stand together and build something they can never take.